Team, it's Mr. Z, and today we're going to talk about multiplying fractions, a very complicated topic that has basically infinite depth. I'm going to show you how to multiply fractions, and I'm going to show you an advanced way as well. So let's go ahead and jump on in. So just remember, pause, take a moment, write out your key concepts in your notebook about multiplying fractions, and make sure you take a moment to reflect about how you feel about this concept when you're done. Now, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the last part right here where it says the problem. You might notice that the problem gets adjusted from here to here. We're going to go ahead and talk about this. This is an advanced technique, but let's go ahead and cover the first technique. All right, let's zoom in. So multiplication means that I multiply the numerators and the denominators together. So I'm going to go ahead and have to multiply 5 times 1 and 8 times 10. If you want to think about it this way, what this lets you do is it lets you rewrite two separate fractions that are being multiplied as a single fraction where the numerators are being multiplied together. 5 times 1 and 8 times 10. I'm going to go ahead and multiply, and the result is going to be 5 over 80. Now this is called the product, but this product is not simplified. We have to make sure that, hey, whenever I'm turning in an answer, it's the lowest representation of that value. Basically, what this means is I need to, when I have my product, I need to check for the GCF. So I'm going to go ahead and examine. Again, I'm looking at the numerator, 5, and the denominator, 80. Now I'm going to start with 5, and I'm going to show you why. Because 80 is going to have a lot of factor pairs. But 5 is prime, meaning it only has two numbers, 5 and 1. 80 is going to have 1 and 80. It's going to have 2. It's going to have many more. But I'm going to use my number sense to cheat a little bit. 80 ends with a 0. The last digit is a 0, meaning that it's divisible by 10. All numbers that are divisible by 10 are also divisible by 5. So I know that because, here, let me write it out in order. I know 1 and 80 makes 80. I know 10 goes into 80 because it ends in a 0. 10 and 8. Now I got to figure out what is the number that multiplies it by 5. I could go ahead and do 80 divided by 5, meaning I would do the long division on paper to figure out what 5 divided by 80 is. But I'm going to show you a cheat code with this Venn diagram. Notice 10 and 8. How do I make 10 into a 5? I'm going to divide it by 2. I'm going to multiply it by 2. So if you didn't see that, you would have to do the long division and get 16. Notice I could also do the inverse where I double one side and then take half to go back. So, moral of the story though, the GCF is 5, and you might not need to find the GCF out with a Venn diagram. If you know it, more power to you. But if you write out your Venn diagram, this is going to enable you to simplify it without a calculator. Remember, this course is all about no calculator. So to simplify, watch what I'm going to do. What is 5 divided by 5? 1. What is 80 divided by 5? Notice how this chart helps? Voila. The idea is that the Venn diagram is the manifestation, basically the written way you're thinking about these problems. There's the part 1 where it's multiplying, and then part 2 is the simplifying. There are techniques to make the simplification process easier. Number 2, doing this old-fashioned way. I see 2 fractions that are being multiplied. This enables me to rewrite them as a single fraction. 5 times 2, 7 times 3. Now I'm going to multiply these guys out, and I'm going to get 10 over 21. Again, this is going to be my product, and I need to check, can this be simplified? Well, I look at my factors of 10 and 21. My number sense is going to do great diligence in making this a quicker process. 1 and 10, 1 and 21. I'm going to start out with 1 and 10. What's the next number? 2. 10 is even. How many 2's make 10? 5. Now I have to check the numbers between 2 and 5. Does 3 work? Does 4 work? And when I say that, does 3 go into 10? So 10 divided by 3 is 3 and 1/3. Again, 3 and 1/3. No, 3 is not a factor. It is not divisible. It has a remainder. Likewise, 4 doesn't. So now I'm going to cheat again a little. I'm only going to look at these factors, 1, 2, 5, and 10, because I only want the common factors. So instead of making a giant list for 21, I'm going to check 2, 5, and 10. 21 divided by 2 is 10.5. 10 and a remainder. Remember, this is a course without a calculator. We haven't talked about division with decimals. If I see that, I'm going to know you're doing the right thing. But remember, use the long division right now. Master it. So none of these actually go into 21. The only factor chair that, if you were interested, would be 3 and 7. So the GCF of these guys is 1, which means this is simplified, because 10 divided by 1 and 21 divided by 1 is going to be still 10 and 21, meaning my answer was right all along. But I do need to check. Multiply, simplify. All right, let's try to go a little quicker. Number 3, multiply. Write them out as a single fraction. 3 over 16. I check my factors for 3 and 16. I write them out. 1 and 16. I know that 2 times 8 is 16. 4 times 4 is 16. I examine these Venn diagrams and I see what? What numbers do they have in common? 1, meaning that this is simplified. Now, something that rings this out is I know that 3 is considered a prime number because it only has 2 factors. When you see a prime number, there is a significant chance that your product might be already simplified. Number 4. So let's go ahead and look at this guy. I'm going to multiply it out. This is going to be 7 times 4. 10 times 5. I'm going to multiply this out. I can look at my list of multiples, but this is going to be 28 over 50. Now 28 over 50, I'm going to have to reduce. So let's go ahead and look at my t-charts of 28 and 50. And I start out with 1 and 28 and 1 and 50 and start generating the numbers between them. The first number I check is 2. 2 times what is 28? Well, to figure that out, I'm going to do 28 divisible by 2. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 8 4 times. So it's going to be 14. Likewise, 2 and 2 quarters make 50 cents. I'm going to keep on going. I'm going to check 3. I'm going to check 4. Ooh, 4 works. I know 3 doesn't work. 4 times what? 7. Notice again a pattern. 50? Does 4 work? What is 50 divided by 4? Well, it's not going to turn out to be easily divisible, that's for sure. I would continue my lists, and I would examine that there's not a lot of space between 4 and 7. It could either be 5 and 6. Well, 5 doesn't work, 6 doesn't work. So let me go ahead and check my Venn diagram. What numbers do they have in common? I could even extend my list to include 5 times 10. That works. Well, what's a GCF? 1, 2. The biggest number they have in common is 2. So that means what is going to happen is I'm going to take 28 over 50 and I'm going to divide both of them by 2. Divide them both by the GCF. And watch where I get these numbers. No calculator, remember. 28 divided by 2 is 14. Again, 50 divided by 2 is going to be 25. If you identify the GCF, this is the simplified product. All right, I hope that helped. Remember, we need to get better. This is going to be a process that we improve on as we go on throughout the course. That's it for now.